today, and I think there's many correlations between gold and silver and Bitcoin that's produced from a proof of work. I'm not too sure of the proof of stake operation, but certainly proof of work, there's many similarities.
Yes, Bitcoin is based on proof of work, and this means you have to invest some work, some energy in the product, Bitcoin, and so this is basically the intrinsic value of Bitcoin. People are often asking, what is behind Bitcoin? Why has Bitcoin a value? We know Bitcoin is basically an open source ledger, a worldwide open source ledger, and behind Bitcoin we have here one example. This is one piece or one part of a so-called miner. It's a hardware, computer hardware, and we have worldwide right now a huge amount of hardware that is powered by a huge amount of electricity permanently to keep the network secure. And this is basically that what is standing behind Bitcoin, the intrinsic value. Because if somebody would like to cheat or to get in the situation to cheat in the network of Bitcoin, you would have to have more than 51% of the network. So this means you would have hundreds of megawatts of electricity power, and to be able to make any strange things in the network. Bitcoin is extremely secure. Since 7 years, there is no single failure, basically no single proof of cheating or something like this.
It's so exciting, and I suppose if I go back, being a gold and silver person, for many people who certainly know me, I'm a licensed gold trader in Dubai. I've been running the Swiss company since 2008, and we ship physical precious metals around to over 40 countries. There's many similarities. It took me a while to get my mind around from the physical stuff to a digital deal in one sense, but certainly the proof of work, it's certainly very, very exciting. But I think it's a natural progression of how money is created. I mean, money is created from a free market, historically in cycles. Everything goes in cycles. And I really think that this ingenious concept of Bitcoin, decentralized system, blockchain, money in one sense has really come out of the dissatisfaction of a decentralized system, a system that's really designed to transfer wealth away from the people back to the centralized system. So, I think, what's the guy's name? Satoshi? Nakamoto, thank you. Or his team, whoever it was, we don't really know who that is, truly ingenious in what they've actually achieved. And when I look at the gold and silver, when I look at paper, for example, I've got some probably some euros here and some Swiss francs. I mean, it's paper. It probably costs about 1/2 cent to produce one of these, regardless of the face value of the paper.
Yes, but for sure, this is the smallest part or smallest amount of money available in the world right now. The biggest part is even more.
You can't see it.
You can't see it.
Yeah.
They just create it out of nothing.
Well, money's created from debt, of course.
Yeah.
Money is loaned into existence.
Yes.
And of course, this is what really keeps people enslaved to the system. We're actually, in one sense, enslaved to the monetary system. So I think it's through the dissatisfaction of our monetary system that brought the ingenious concept of Bitcoin to actually the table, because it's divisible.
Yeah.
It's a medium of exchange. It's fungible. It's got all the characteristics. And I believe with the proof of work, it even has a store of value, as you just explained a little bit earlier on.
I would say that the biggest thing about Bitcoin is the store of value, because it's an open source network. Everybody in the network knows, so everybody knows how many Bitcoins do exist, how many are created day by day, and in the fiat money world, nobody knows how much money exists in reality. Nobody. So
it's trillions, but we don't know. Yeah.
Yes, but we don't know exactly.
Yeah.
And this is why Bitcoin has a huge potential. It rose a lot, of course. People say Bitcoin rose so much it can't go higher. Just one comparison: if you take the value, you are into gold. If you take the value of the total gold worldwide, and exchange this value or transform it into 21 million Bitcoins that will ever exist, one Bitcoin should be around $700,000 or $800,000 per Bitcoin. So right now we are at $750, so there is definitely some room or space to go up. And we know it's an open source network. You can see all transactions. We see that every day there is more and more transactions on the network. That means more and more people want to have Bitcoin, use Bitcoin in a daily life. And we know on the other side, it's absolutely limited and protected by hardware and electricity. And so we know the price has to go up, definitely.
I think there's about 14 million Bitcoins already mined, is that right?
It's more, it's something like 60 or 70 million. I don't know the number exactly. It's 1,800 Bitcoins per day that are newly created. And what is also very interesting in the Bitcoin algorithm is that every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoins that are produced is halved. So we had in 2016, this year, a couple of months ago, we had 3,600 Bitcoins per day produced. And then I think it was in July, in one moment, the production was cut off by 50%. And now it's 1,800. And in 2020, it will be 900 Bitcoins per day. And every 4 years, it's half and half, less and less and less by 50%.
Which is completely different to what central banks are doing.
Yeah, definitely.
They're increasing. I think the European Central Bank might be printing 40 or 50 billion euros per month. You have Japan, China also, of course, and then
they're expanding the
they're
amount,
expanding the monetary supply, which means
Correct,
this stuff here, this paper stuff, you're going to need a lot more of it. In fact, whatever I have here, whether it's euros, in the next 8 to 9 years, I'm going to need double than this to buy the same amount of goods and services. Mm-hmm. The same with Swiss francs or any other fiat currency.
I think one interesting point for people who are new to Bitcoin is to understand, people often ask me, how is it possible there are only 21 million pieces? Will it be enough for the whole world? Yes, it will be definitely enough, because every single Bitcoin can be cut into smaller pieces by default to 1 million pieces. It's the smallest unit is called bit, and 1 million bits is 1 Bitcoin.
Tell me, as a novice in this game, who's really, as you can see, I'm pretty excited about it also, how I can really help people change their lives going forward, understanding the monetary system. Well, and that's really an important part too, is the education of understanding the monetary system. If we understand the monetary system, we can make right decisions as well and preserve our wealth and benefit from this knowledge. But is there times where you think it's better just to buy Bitcoin outright versus mining? Do you see any correlations or times we should be buying or versus mining? Do you see there's a different group of people here?
Basically, we have a lot of times these questions. What is better, to just buy Bitcoin or to mine Bitcoin? And the reality is both are, every investment, this is investment, every investment is some kind of bet. Yeah? It's, I would say in terms of Bitcoin is 7 years old, it has proven it works, it is a pretty secure bet. And then it's a question, what is the better bet, to buy Bitcoin or to mine Bitcoin? And honestly, I would recommend anybody to, if you want to make an investment in the cryptocurrency Bitcoin, make it 50-50. Invest 50% directly in Bitcoin and 50% in Bitcoin mining. And I think both will be very good in the long run.
That's great advice. Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, it's a bit like us. I mean, and even with your packages that you provide us, and we're really grateful as a company that we're plugged into the Genesis huge farming in one's global farming that you offer. People can get started from as little as $30.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And this, I think, is absolutely fantastic. The same as us, people can get started with us buying gold, real gold, certified physical gold from as little as $25 per month, and we physically ship it. With you, you're offering people able to get involved from as little as $30 into mining, so they can set up a Bitcoin address wallet. They can get engaged. They can get educated through the process for really minimum risk. And we had one lady from Queensland, Australia, yesterday, who's been with us now 6 or 7 years. Hi, Shirley. She'll know that I speak out to her. I mean, she wanted, she's been with us saving in physical gold and some silver for a long time, and she sent a message to us wanting to know, can she set up some accounts, Bitcoin mining, for her grandchildren. She wants to set up, $50 accounts for her 6 or 7 grandchildren that she actually has. Jacob, one of the other interesting things which I like very much about the Genesis Mining company is that you offer multiple different contracts for different types of cryptocurrencies. But in respect to the Bitcoin contract, it's a lifetime contract, which means it has zero maturity date. Now, for people who you said there's always risk associated with things. Maybe you'd like to touch on this a bit.
Yes, of course. We call our contracts for Bitcoin mining lifetime contracts because we take money, we buy hardware, plug it into, connect it to the electricity and to the internet, and these machines are supporting the Bitcoin network and producing Bitcoin and doing the Bitcoin transactions also, and this is generating income. But this income is limited with the worldwide competition in Bitcoin, and this means worldwide people are trying to mine Bitcoin because they understand it, but there is only one big piece of cake that is produced by day, so all these people get just a share of this cake per day. So the more hash power is arising worldwide, the smaller your piece of cake gets on the one side. On the other side, the piece what you get has a market value, and this market value is also fluctuating. So you have something. So you basically produce something virtually, digitally, that has a market value on the one side, and you have an investment or costs, fees, a daily fees. Basically, it's the biggest part is electricity that has to be covered. So you have to sell every day a small piece of that what you have produced to cover the costs. And these costs rise by nature through time. So in one point of time in the future, nobody knows when it will be because you have a lot of influence, market price, hash rate, difficulty, and so on. New technology is arising. In the long run, these contracts will not be lifetime contracts. It will end in a couple of years. But nobody knows exactly when the date will be and when it expires. So basically, imagine you buy this hardware, you plug it in at home, it runs, and in one point of time, this hardware is consuming more electricity than you are getting from Bitcoins in value. So you will just plug it, shut it off and buy Bitcoin directly from the money you would pay for electricity, right? And this is basically what we are doing with the lifetime contracts. As long as the income that is generated covers the costs, it is profitable more than to buy Bitcoin directly. And if these expenses are higher than that what is produced, then we have to shut down the contracts.
Okay, so I get this. So for our listeners who are pretty much precious metals people, gold and silver people, in one sense, if I had a physical gold mine, it's my stake of the gold mine, and I've got my capital, my machinery there, my labour in there working for it, and all of a sudden 10 other groups of people who are outside my operation want to also mine for the same amount of gold there. Of course, the amount we're getting more out each day, but I'm getting probably less because there's other people taking some as well.
Correct.
And then, of course, it's getting more difficult as well because the more comes out, we're going to hit granite, we're going to hit different things. So it'll get to a point where it's not going to be worth mining any particular point where I may just go and buy the gold and silver. So I see that would be the same.
It's pretty similar.
Pretty similar to what you're saying about Bitcoin as well, because obviously these thousands of units consume a huge amount of power, and at the same time you've got other people plugging into doing their mining as well.
It's a worldwide competition.
Yes.
Really. It's a worldwide competition, and this worldwide competition creates basically the first natural money for the internet. It is also, you have to understand that Bitcoin is transported through the internet. Right now, if you buy something at Amazon or eBay or some other shop in the internet, you have one channel for the information, but you use a second channel, a different channel for payments. It's a banking. And with Bitcoin, you have the same channel for information and for payment. And it's also pretty amazing.
It's incredible.
It's the first time in history.